Hi, it's Tracy again. This is the second time I'm recording this video. So this is my 5-year journal in a Hobonichi Cousin 2020. I currently have it in this Hobonichi style cover that I found on Amazon. So it's the cover and then a cover on cover for it. And inside my cover, I have some stencils, which I hardly ever use. And then I have another set of stencils back here, which I hardly ever use. And they're part of a set I had bought on Amazon. I think each set was like $10. But I don't use most of them, so I'm just going to probably sell them or put them in as an extra when people buy stuff from me. So now what I decided to do was to track, basically like everybody does in a 5-year journal, just track the 5 years. But I wanted to also include like a gratitude section, and like local US and world news. And the reason I chose to do it in a cousin instead of a 5-year Hobonichi is because the price point on a 5-year Hobonichi was insane for me. Like I couldn't afford it. I found a second cousin because I have one already. This is my first one. I found a second cousin on the buy sell trade group, in the Hobonichi buy sell trade group, for like $20 or something like that. I don't know. It was cheap. It was not even near what it costs to buy one full price. On the day section, I have like a little guide here, and I'm sure that you guys can't really see that, so sorry for the shadowing. So this guide explains what's in each section. So in the day section, it's basically our daily life, you know, what we did, where we went, who we did it with, any other info, as well as weather. And then in the weekly section, I put week, like news for each day. So I'll show you that. And I haven't figured out what to use the monthly section for. So if you have an idea, let me know. This is empty from last month. This month is empty as well. And I use these little tabs, and I don't know if I've shown these to you. I think I showed them to you in my last video. They are just little things I got from the dollar store. They look like this, and I have them in a set of arrows as well, but I use them as markers, page markers. And so usually the black is for the weeks, the green is for the daily, pink is for notes, and the orange, which is over here, is for the monthly. So I'm going to show you, first I'm going to show you a couple of things, and I haven't filled this out yet because I don't really know yet, but I decided to use this double spread that's in the middle of the book between the weeks and the months, excuse me, as like a goal tracking section. So I used one of the stencils and just sectioned it off evenly, or as even as I could get it, and then just wrote this stuff in here. And then in the back I also put reference pages. So this year I have information on it that I don't want to share with you guys, like my address and other things, but I put, so each year has its own page, and I put, like, I used the stencils again up in the corners So each year I'll just fill in information for that year, like where we live, what our house looks like or our apartment looks like. If I change where I get my news, or if I change where I get my weather from, because right now I'm using WeatherBug to get my weather, and I'm using the BBC and NPR websites to get news because they seem to be a little less stupid and crazy. So we're going to start with the daily section because it's just easier and it's the one I use probably the most. And I basically had figured out how to section it off, and I love my Bic quad colors, and I have it in the regular medium size, and I have it in the fine point. So I usually draw my lines in medium, and I use my fine point in my Hobonichi weeks, and usually in the week section of this book, but not always in this section. Sometimes I actually use this quite a bit, come to think of it. So I'm just going to mark, I put some little dashes here of how I figured it out, but it's about, if you go from the top line underneath the date down to the 12 o'clock section, that's about the right amount, which is about 3 centimeters. And so I just kind of mapped it out again. So, and then we have it at the 8 o'clock section, and then we have it again at the 4 a.m. section, and then I just go about 3 millimeters down to the nearest square and mark it out that way. So I always draw a line across the top. Not that I need to, but I do, just to make it even. It just looks better to me for some reason. Now, I don't always draw all the lines on every single day. Usually I'll just draw these 2 lines and then just keep going, and I don't draw this one or the next one or the next one. But since you're here, I figured I'd just do it, get it done with. And then I do the same thing on this side as well. And then over here, I usually go 4 squares. You know how like there's 2 squares where the numbers are, and then I go 4 squares over from that, and I draw a line down, which is where I put my weather. And there was something I wasn't tracking before, which I am going to start tracking because of the humidity of where I am in Virginia. I'm not used to it. Well, I'm just not used to Virginia. It's warm and it's hot, and Maine only got like that like maybe a week or like 14 days out of the entire year, and they weren't all together. So it's very different for me. So I'm gonna get WeatherBug open. I usually put the high and the low. I'm just going to try to make this fast. Now it says it's cloudy, but it's only cloudy right now. But there's supposed to be a little bit of sun. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a larger cloud with a little sun peeking out from behind it, because often it's not necessarily always cloudy all day. And then I check to see how the wind is, and the wind is like pretty low. But it can get up to 12 miles an hour, so we're just going to write that down. And then I actually skip to the bottom of the square down here, and I write the sunrise and the sunset. And I don't make it really neat, I just kind of scribble it on there. And then I do the air quality, which is fine. And then I actually go to, did that say fine or did it say fair? It said fair. Okay, let's do this fair. And then I usually get the number that it is, which is 34 today. And I've noticed that my allergies are different down here than they were in Maine. So we have medium for the pollen count. And the number is 7. It usually has a 7 point something. So this one is 7.1 today. Oops, okay. And then I just started tracking UV, so it says it's very high. I try to abbreviate it, and I put the thing, and so I'm also going to go and find, I gotta figure out where the humidity is in here, because I don't think I've, oh, here it is, 68%. So I'm gonna have to figure out where I'm going to put humidity, but for today we're gonna put humidity here. So I'm going to have to kind of reorganize how that works. And then I just put like what I'm doing today. So usually I'm home because I don't have like an outside of the house job. I don't really have a job right now anyways. And my boyfriend is at work. And I usually put his schedule right there. And then tomorrow I will fill in like a gratitude that will go up here in the check boxes, and there's 5 check boxes, so I have enough for all 5 years. And then I will come back later today or tomorrow and fill out what I did today. So like I watched a Facebook Live from Carol in a group that I'm in. And that was at noon. And then other than that, I just jot down the stuff that we did. So like we went for a bike ride the other day, so I put that in here as well. And now we move on to the news. And since the news, I'll show you how I divide it out first, and then I will show you how I do it. So I figured it out that you can divide it out, and it's on the 8:30 mark. And I just draw a line across. Now you can do this as a 2-year journal, 3-year journal. You just have to figure out the marks that you need to make. And then again, it's going to be at the 1 o'clock, and on this one I go all the way across here because this section here is where I'm going to leave my comments about the week's news here. So, and then each one of these, like I have, so like this is last week, and I have to put in today's news here, and then once I do that I will write a little ditty about how I feel about it, but you know, it is what it is. And so like this is the week before, so I did most of that, and then this one I divided out into the 5 sections. So and then here is the 5 sections for all the news, but I hadn't done this yet. and it's not always the same on these marks. So I have to go back and figure that out because I just started doing that. So you can see where I kind of messed up the count here. So, but that's pretty even at this point. So it would be at the 130, right? I don't know. Apparently I messed it up because yeah. Well, anyways, it's like half an hour or so, or like 1 square difference. Whatever, I'll just adjust. So that's what I do with that. And then, like I said, for the months, I really haven't come up with an idea of something I could put in on every single month for the next 5 years to track. So I'm open to suggestions on that. I haven't really come across anything that, you know, floats my boat. You know, it's hard because there's the number of squares in the box don't partial out right, so I could do like 1 for every year, and that would leave me 2 extra lines, and then it would leave me all of this line up here. And so I had thought about doing the gratitude on this, but it just didn't work out. Like, it in my head it wouldn't work out. So I didn't have a use for these check boxes, so I ended up using those. So that's all. That's how I made a Hobonichi 2020 Cousin into a 5-year journal. So if you have any questions, just comment down below. Hit subscribe, like, and all that jazz. So this is, I think, only my 3rd video, and I do these all in one shot, and I don't edit because I don't have editing software I have found that I like. So it is what it is. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Happy planning.